Published in 1931, Virginia Woolf's The Waves stands as one of her most daring literary experiments within the realm of modernism. It embraces themes and techniques characteristic of the movement, such as stream of consciousness narration and the recurring use of leitmotifs. Set in England during the early 20th century, the novel delves into the intertwined lives of 6 characters from childhood to adulthood, meticulously exploring their individual experiences and the dynamics of their relationships. Structured around a rotational narrative featuring soliloquies from each of the 6 characters, The Waves delves into contemporary philosophical inquiries concerning human consciousness and the construction of identity. Through its deeply experimental style, form, and narrative purpose, the novel challenges conventional language usage, societal norms, and the traditional art of storytelling itself. In the initial section, we are introduced to Neville, Lewis, Bernard, Susan, Jinny, and Rhoda, privileged children navigating the landscape of early 20th century England. Through their individual first-person stream of consciousness narrations, pivotal moments in their upbringing are unveiled. From playful interactions and attendance at a nearby prep school to personal revelations and struggles with familial expectations, each character undergoes significant growth and introspection. Transitioning to the second section, the narrative follows the characters as they depart for boarding school, separating into gender-specific institutions. Here, Neville, Lewis, and Bernard encounter transformative experiences with language during a lecture by a rector. Neville grapples with the necessity of order in both his life and language. Bernard discovers the transcendent power of words to inspire change, and Lewis finds solace in language as a link to a cultural heritage he fears he may not fully belong to. Their shared admiration for a charismatic fellow student named Percival underscores the boys' yearning for connection and validation. Meanwhile, Susan grapples with homesickness amidst the structured environment of her own school, reminiscing about her familial roots in the countryside. Through these nuanced portrayals, Woolf crafts a rich tapestry of human experience, inviting readers to contemplate the intricacies of consciousness, identity formation, and interpersonal relationships within the ever-evolving landscape of early 20th century England. Jinny's exploration of her beauty and physicality persists, while Rhoda grapples with the challenge of forming her identity. Despite observing Susan and Jinny closely in an attempt to mimic their behavior, Rhoda finds this approach futile. In the novel's third segment, Neville and Bernard embark on their academic journey at Oxford University. Both harbor aspirations of becoming writers and experiment with language, albeit in contrasting manners. Bernard, being extroverted, draws inspiration from others for his fiction, whereas Neville, driven by a quest for order, crafts poetry that reflects a meticulous authenticity to real-life experiences. Neville finds himself enamored with Percival, longing for his attention. As the girls complete their education, Susan retreats to her familial abode in the countryside, while Jinny and Rhoda immerse themselves in society life. Rhoda, lacking Jinny's inherent physical confidence, grapples with a persistent sense of emptiness and struggles to forge her identity. Meanwhile, Lewis, unable to pursue higher education due to financial constraints, delves into the workforce. Despite harboring envy toward Neville and Bernard, he strives to prove himself worthy of acceptance into upper-class circles, dedicating his spare time to the study of history, philosophy, and nurturing his intellectual and creative pursuits. In the novel's fourth phase, the friends find themselves in their 20s. Lewis thrives in his career, Jinny continues to revel in the pleasures of social gatherings, and Bernard and Neville remain committed to their writing endeavors. Susan maintains her rustic existence in the countryside, while Rhoda continues her futile quest for meaning and self-identity. Despite drifting apart as adults, the group reunites in London for a dinner party in honor of Percival, who is poised to embark on a career in India, then a part of the British Empire. Tensions simmer beneath the surface before Percival's arrival, but his presence fosters a renewed sense of camaraderie and affection among the old friends. Fond memories of their shared childhood linger among the group. However, in the fifth segment of the novel, tragedy strikes as Percival meets his demise in a horse-riding accident in India, prompting varied responses from the 6 characters. Neville grapples deeply with Percival's passing, harboring resentment toward those who carry on with life unaffected. Choosing to immerse himself in grief, Neville channels his love for Percival into his poetry. Bernard, too, mourns Percival's loss, but finds solace in the birth of his own son, opting to celebrate life by joining Jinny at a party. Rhoda confronts the harsh realities of existence, acknowledging its perceived ugliness and despair while steadfastly seeking meaning and beauty amidst the turmoil. In the subsequent section, the characters navigate adulthood. Susan finds fulfillment as a wife and mother, deriving happiness from nurturing her family. Neville, in his quest to fill the void left by Percival, engages in fleeting relationships that inspire his poetry but fail to rekindle the intensity of his former love. Jinny continues her pursuit of pleasure and physical gratification, while Lewis ascends to prominence as a successful businessman and esteemed member of high society, albeit with less time for his literary and historical pursuits. Meanwhile, Lewis and Rhoda embark on a clandestine affair. As the narrative progresses into its seventh segment, the characters confront the realities of middle age. Jinny grapples with the inevitability of aging, opting to embrace her sexuality and physicality as integral components of her identity. Susan remains content in her familial abode, though pondering the adventures she might have foregone. Seeking to invigorate his creative spirit, Bernard embarks on a journey to Rome, driven by a growing concern that his fiction fails to authentically capture the complexities of human existence. Meanwhile, Rhoda finds herself in Spain, gazing out at the vast expanse of the ocean as she grapples with the pervasive sense of meaninglessness in her life. In the eighth segment of the novel, the six friends reconvene for a dinner party, initially shrouded in awkwardness and resentment fueled by envy and personal struggles. Neville, though outwardly content with his success as a poet, harbors insecurities, projecting his uncertainties onto Susan, perceiving her traditional lifestyle as a judgment upon his artistic pursuits. Similarly, Susan perceives Neville's judgment, contributing to the tension among the group. However, as the evening progresses, they reminisce about their shared past and rediscover the depth of their affection for one another, bridging the divide that had momentarily separated them. The narrative shifts in the ninth section, offering insight into Bernard's perspective as an elderly man grappling with an existential crisis of identity. Reflecting on his life, Bernard acknowledges the profound influence his friends have had on shaping his sense of self. He mourns the loss of Rhoda, who tragically ended her own life, and confronts the fragility of his own identity. Realizing the limitations of his superficial experiences, Bernard yearns for a deeper, more authentic language to navigate the uncertainties of his remaining years, desiring a profound and meaningful connection with the world around him. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.